guys, it's Kaimana Kane, and today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to do Koshi Guruma. So you guys might be doing that in a few minutes, and I've actually used this in real life situations and mostly in competitions. So I really like this because I feel like my opponent is controlled on my back. You can use this in everyday situations, like if you go to school, like a kid like me, you could have a bully on the schoolyard and you could just Koshi Guruma, and it's a good sound for you, but it's not a good sound for them. It could also be used for grown-ups, like if you're a bouncer in a bar and see a drunk guy trying to hit you, immediately the natural instinct, throw them. Again, it's a good sound for you, but not a good sound for them. So,
and the sound you mean when they land on the ground, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
he's still down. He ain't moving.
Yeah.
Kind of like what happened at
an indoor trampoline park, and this is actually a true story. So this guy was like arguing with me, and I saw him throw.
When we say guy, we'll say older kid than you. Okay, not a guy.
And he started like throwing punches at me, and basically I went inside. Koshi Guruma, again, good sound for me, not a good sound for them. So I'm going to be teaching you how to do this throw in 4 basic steps. So good luck to Billy Bob. Okay, so you might not even know you're going to do this throw. So you might have a jiu-jitsu grip, and mostly if you're like training in judo class, you want to have a judo grip right behind their neck. But since like this is going to be a realistic experience, realistic throw, I'm going to start with a jiu-jitsu grip. And you could have it behind the elbow, you could have it behind the
Your other
wrist.
hand?
Yeah, my other hand, you could have it behind the wrist or elbow. You don't want it under their armpit, tricep, or even forearm. So for this video, I'm going to be doing the elbow and also the wrist while doing some. So jiu-jitsu grip, and behind the elbow, you could do wrist or elbow. So first step in, and as you can see, what you probably noticed first is me pulling his hand up with my elbow to the sky, and that basically causes them off balance. So it'll be easier for when I throw, it'll make a louder slam. So it's basically called kuzushi, and it's a Japanese word which means making your opponent off balance. So that's one of the key parts to this throw, and really it'll make it a lot easier. And also you want to have, well, it'll be a dream if someone were to be standing like that, but that's way too unrealistic. So I'm going to have them like have a realistic stance like that, and ideally you want to get both of your feet in between their stance. So step 1, lift up in between. Step 2, like imagine you're throwing a haymaker, and you could grab the gi like right here, you could grab it on their collar. You can just even have a fist like this and like pushing it towards your bicep on this side. And then you, at the same time, you bring this foot also in between their stance. You want to get your hip lower than their waistline, their belt. So if you're training judo, you usually, well, you have to wear a belt. And if say you're training Koshi Guruma Judo, you can have their belt. You can use it as like a kind of guide to see if your belt or waistline is below theirs. That's another secret, because if you do it like this and you don't have your belt below their belt, it's going to be a lot more muscle than technique. So if I try to do it right now, it's still pretty hard, but you don't have control. You could still do it, but it's just they could escape easier. It's much harder, and you don't really rely on technique. So again, step 1. Let me open his stance. Step 1, step 2, step 3 is lifting them on your back like this. You want to really use your feet and get below their waistline. Number 4, you want to look at your elbow, but when you're finished, don't want to keep looking on your elbow. Want to look at them and see if they're aching in pain. And when you hear that slam, you know you did this judo throw right. So there's 3 options you could do. one in a different video. I taught you guys how to do an arm bar. Number 2, you can start doing ground and pound, which is basically punching them in the face, elbows. Or number 3, you could run away. You don't get in trouble if you don't get caught. So I'll do it again slowly. So I'm doing jiu-jitsu grip, kind of wide stance, but I'm going to make his stance wide. Step 1, step in, elbow high, still having the jiu-jitsu grip, and stepping in between their feet. If you step out, you'll have to rely more on muscle than technique. So ideally, you want to get it between their feet, kind of like this. Step number 2, all at the same time. Haymaker behind their neck. Step in and get your hips low, like this. Step number 3, get them on your back. And oh, that was kind of bad. But when you do it at a faster pace, it's kind of easier, and it's kind of, he got all the motions at once if you practice. So a little faster this time. Yes! And after this, I'm going to show you one more time, and then after that, you'll do it in live speed. So I'm going to be doing the wrist for this one, but I really like the elbow because it feels like I have more control and control on them, and it just makes me feel more powerful. So this one I'm going to be using the wrist. Step 1. Yeah! And you might be wondering what I'm saying if you haven't watched any of my other videos. Kai is basically spiritual fighting expression, and it's proven by scientists to make your throws or like arm bars or chokes 10%, which is a big percentage, and 10% powerful, more fast. It's just a easy way to get your throws, chokes, arm bars, locks just even better.
It also forces your core to tighten up.
Yeah.
Hence to like why boxers, kind of exhale when they punch it. Giving 10% more power, but also tightens their muscles at the same time as someone's counter striking.
Yeah. So I'm going to show you guys a little faster, and after this, we're going to do it in live action.
So you're doing the wrist one now, or the elbow?
I'm doing the wrist one, and for the live action, I'll do the elbow.
Okay.
Check!
So what are you doing with the wrist one that's different than the elbow one?
So really, it gives me more space to pull. So like, if you have it, you can only pull so far. But if you have your elbow, it can go way farther back. So see the difference? It's kind of like this. You can't pull them like right here, or else they'll throw them. Right?
Show one more time, please.
Like here.
The whole throw?
Oh, okay. So if I do it like this, you can only pull so far.
That's the elbow.
Yeah. But if you do it with the wrist, you could pull even farther. So that's just a little tip on whether you want to get it more stronger or get them like falling down more faster.
Okay. How about live action and regular speed?
Live action with my elbow, and I'll change it with the wrist later. And that's with the elbow. And now you guys get to see it with the wrist. So those were both ways to do Koshi Guruma, and I really hope you like my teaching of how to do Koshi Guruma. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. You don't get in trouble if you don't get caught.
And just to show you guys how strong these throws are, we didn't have cracks until he was doing these. So thanks a lot, kid. But they work.